anti-guard has become the new face of women's basketball.
Right on the money. You never get tired of seeing that.
Caitlin Clark has been making people pay since her freshman year in Iowa City.
Caitlin Clark, a player who needs no introduction. If you're a fan of the game of basketball, you're more than familiar with the fiery guard from Iowa, taking her hometown team at the University of Iowa and making them must-see TV.
Caitlin's been that rocket fuel that the WNBA has needed since its existence.
Look at Clark. Yes! Clark! Oh my!
Steph Curry like range out there. People were podcasting about Caitlin, writing books about Caitlin, writing feature stories about Caitlin before she had even played in the WNBA.
I think it's just the style of basketball that I play, but also I think people love the fire and the emotion that I have and the smile I always have on my face. To be honest, I don't get nervous for games because I just know this is fun for me.
She hates to lose. She can't stand to lose. She's highly competitive. But I can just imagine what it would be like to be playing a game of Trivia Pursuit with her or charades or any type of game, because she's like one of a few players, they can't stand to lose at anything.
She started making her games with Iowa appointment TV. I can't tell you how many times I had friends reach out, hey, are you watching the game? And I would assume something else. They're like, no, Caitlin, 3 o'clock, ABC. And that's how you knew, okay, we have something here. This is something special. When you become appointment TV, you're on to something.
The game of basketball has no shortage of star power. Larger-than-life personalities are what make both the NBA and college basketball such a compelling draw for fans across the world. But in the town of Des Moines, Iowa, there was a young girl who dreamed of changing the game forever, and her name was Caitlin Clark.
You know, I grew up a super competitive kid. I loved the moment. I loved when the lights shine the brightest. You know, I always grew up watching the game. I had cousins that played. So, just a super competitive family, and I loved being around sports.
I'd probably have to say when she was pretty young, I think around probably age of 5 or 6, when she was just doing, rec basketball league type stuff or rec soccer league type stuff. She literally, I would say, would score quite a few goals in soccer, and the same way with basketball. I mean, she would pull up from the free throw line on a 6 or 7 foot hoop and make it pretty consistently.
I kind of always was a little more gifted on the offensive end. I grew up watching the game. I had an older brother that played basketball, so I always tagged around with a lot of boys, and I think, that kind of helped me develop my offensive skill set at a younger age a little faster than most people would. And then when I made that transition from boys basketball to girls basketball, I was, already kind of a step ahead. And, I always had the will to want to be better, and I played up usually throughout AAU. I knew I loved basketball when I was pretty young, but then I eventually went to the AAU circuit around 6th grade, I want to say. And then probably by 8th grade, I knew okay, this can probably be my future. I can go to college. I want to be a pro.
Playing on the AAU circuit with All Iowa Attack, a notoriously successful program that had helped develop future NBA champion Harrison Barnes, Caitlin Clark had begun attracting the attention of college scouts from a young age, receiving her first letter of interest just months before her 7th grade year. The buzz around Clark's game would only continue to build from there, and as she continued to develop her game, it wouldn't be long until Caitlin would explode onto the high school scene. Already ranking as the #1 recruit in her high school class as a freshman, Clark would suit up for Dowling Catholic High School in her hometown of Des Moines. Over her high school career, Clark would average over 27 points per game, on her way to becoming one of the most decorated high school players in state history.
Caitlin's the type of person that competes in everything. I mean, I remember hearing from teachers that they'd have to like stop games in class, you know, because she'd get too competitive or too wound up. She loves seeking challenges. The harder a task, the more determined she is. Some people shy away a little bit or they want to be in their safe zone. She wants to go after those challenges, and she just loves the excitement of achieving a challenge or overcoming the odds.
I remember watching her when she was a summer going into her senior year. I was in Chicago for 3 days for the Girls AAU Nationals.
Yeah.
Her team from Iowa, like, they played together so smooth, but she was always leading it. She always had the ball in her hands. Everybody was playing off of her. She just commanded the whole game. I was like, who the hell is this? She is nice. It was like, oh, she the best player in the country. I was like, oh. I see it now. Like, you know,
right.
Like when you walk in and you don't even know who anybody is, and they just be
Yeah.
like, yo, that's the best player in the country right there. It's just like, yo, that hits you out of nowhere. Like, let me really focus in on her.
By her senior year, Clark had averaged over 33 points per game, being named a McDonald's All-American and becoming one of the most highly sought-after women's basketball recruits in recent memory. However, after a lengthy recruiting process, it was a university close to home that would earn her commitment.
It takes a lot of thought. Like, it's a big decision. It's where you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life. So took quite a few visits, and eventually, like, my top three were Iowa, Iowa State, and Notre Dame. Mostly because I love the schools, but at the same time, like, I knew I wanted to be close to my family. But obviously, you know, Coach Bluter, she's one of the best coaches of all time, the winningest coach in Big Ten history.
One of the things that always stuck out to me about her recruitment was she was playing USA basketball before she had made her decision. It was like the summer before, and it was during a live recruiting period. And Lisa Bluter and Jan Jensen both went, I think it was over to Taipei, and they followed the USA basketball, and they were both there. So sending two coaches all the way over to follow her at USA basketball. The fact that they did that, I know that made a big impact on her.
On my visits here, I always love the girls, I love the town, I love the coaches. So it kind of just seemed like everything kind of fell into place, and like, this is where I should be. And, you know, now that I'm here, I know I definitely made the right decision, and I've loved every second.
I think my goal is always to win a national championship. That was my goal no matter where I went. So I think that and just taking a program to where they've never been before would be really cool and awesome, especially doing it in your home state.
If you're someone like me who's always trying to stay consistent with your health, but you don't always have time for wellness to turn into a full project, then I'd like to introduce you to Grooms. Like many of you, I'm working long hours and trying to stay on top of my physical goals. And sometimes the hardest part is just making the healthy option easy enough to do every day. That's what I like about Grooms. You get a full individual snack pack once a day, and it actually tastes good, which makes it feel more like a treat than another supplement that's just forced into your routine. Grooms are a convenient, comprehensive formula packed into a daily snack pack. And this isn't a multivitamin, greens gummy, or probiotic. It's all of those and then some for a fraction of the price. And a bonus, it tastes great. And the reason it's a full snack pack is because you can't fit this amount of nutrients in just one gummy. Grooms has 20 plus vitamins and minerals and 60 ingredients, including nutrient-dense whole foods. They also have a low sugar or sugar-free option, and they're vegan, nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, with no synthetic sweeteners or dyes. The ingredients are designed to help with things like gut health, immunity, and general wellness. And for me, it's an easy daily win. So if you want to take your health and wellness to the next level and start a convenient way to get all of your nutrients each day, then head to the link in the description or scan the QR and get up to 61% off plus free gifts. And don't forget to follow @Grooms Daily on social media. Again, I want to thank the guys over at Grooms for sponsoring this video. From the moment she stepped foot onto campus at Iowa, Clark would be handed the responsibility of being the team's starting point guard as a freshman. Although she was highly touted out of high school, her high-risk play style and fiery personality would take some time to adjust to the NCAA level, a dynamic that her and Coach Lisa Bluter would have to figure out early on.
Just listening to Lisa Bluter talk about it, and I don't think she'll go into deep details, but I think that freshman year, there were probably more than a few times where they kind of butted heads, where Lisa is kind of wants a style of play, and Caitlin, you just gotta you can't hold that horse back. You gotta let her just run and do get the ball in her hands and let her do her thing.
Shading towards Caitlin Clark's side, she'll pull and fire and hit. Reset the offense, finds Clark.
Shimmy shakes in the first half. Caitlin
On the stretch, so that's on the mind of the Iowa players at this juncture. Clark just, and here's Clark. Just
double up on her, show her more attention, but that's the thing about her.
With a play style on the court that the women's game had never seen at this level, Clark would take the Big Ten by storm in her first season, winning the conference's Freshman of the Year award and becoming the first freshman ever to win the Dawn Staley Award, a trophy given to the best guard in the country. Coming into her sophomore year, expectations were high for Caitlin Clark. With fans returning to the arenas following the COVID-19 pandemic, fans across the country were beginning to fill Iowa women's basketball games, curious to get a look at the player that many were calling the most exciting player in college basketball.
Caitlin Clark just continued to rewrite the history books.
Everybody's around her and she finds a crevice.
Caitlin Clark from the logo! What can Caitlin Clark do?
As a scorer, you need to see the ball go in the rim, and once you do, so if I start the game off hot and I hit a three, oh my, they're going up.
Clark. Beautiful.
There's Marshall out on the perimeter. Get it right back to Caitlin Clark. Always a good choice.
Holy smokes. Another deep three from Caitlin Clark.
What did she do? What did she just do?
Clark's sophomore season would once again be decorated with accolades, this time winning not only the Dawn Staley Award, but being named the Big Ten Player of the Year. However, despite the big expectations and hopes for a deep NCAA tournament run, the Hawkeyes would be met with a shock in March Madness, being upset by the number 10 seeded Creighton Blue Jays in just the second round.
That was a loss, not just in the second round of the NCAAs. That was sold out Carver Hawkeye Arena. And I think that added fuel to the fire because they had made it to, her freshman year, they made it to Sweet 16. That was the kind of the bubble NCAA tournament. And they made it out of the first weekend, which was, the first two games, which was great. But then you lose the next year before you get to the Sweet 16, and that was really disappointing. So I know that they wanted to make a run this year and see if they could get a little bit further.
Motivated by the early exit the year prior, Clark and the Hawkeyes were on a mission heading into her junior season, and the All-American was determined to give fans a year they would never forget.
I think a lot of people are rooting for the Iowa Hawkeyes, which is really cool, but at the same time, every game's going to be tough. That's how it is. But I feel like, we rank up there with some of the best teams in America. We believe we can beat some of the best teams. I think, we have that fire of getting upset early from last year. I think that'll really drive us. But, we want to reach the Final Four. That's our goal. And, we know it takes a little luck, a good draw, a lot of hard work, and but we're going to do everything we can to get there.
Clark, there she goes again. Yes! Shelley almost got the steal. How about Clark? Oh, she is so smooth.
What impressed me this year is everything around her is slowed down. There's no panic. She'll just come down. find a way to get a bucket or find her teammate to get a bucket, and there's no worry about it. And there's no rush to it. It's just there's a patience, there's a calm to her now that wasn't there the first 2 years sometimes.
All guys trying to weather the storm. Clark spinning, throwing up a circus shot, and one.
As the season continued, the hype surrounding Caitlin's game only continued to build, with Iowa women's basketball games becoming one of the hottest tickets in college athletics. The Hawkeyes would sell out every home game in the 2022-23 season, and even began to see away games packed with eager fans.
She's a phenomenon. I've kind of dubbed her like box office, just because she is, her talent is unique. I don't really, I've not seen anything like this in the women's game where she just captivates audiences, and it's even opposing teams that want to, that their fans show up in larger numbers because it's Caitlin Clark.
Clark, one of those distance attacks, rings it up. Look out!
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark? I mean, which one is it?
I don't think anyone loves it more than her. I don't think anyone's out there loving every second more than her. It doesn't matter if she's on the court or off the court, up 30, down 30, she's gonna cherish it all, which I think's one of the most special attributes, is to just be that invested.
She loves the spotlight. I think she enjoys the more people that can be in the arena, the better. I think, and why wouldn't you? I mean, that's what you live for as an athlete.
Fine looking. Here's Clark. She fires and goes! She hit it! Wow!
I'm all about growing the women's game, and I'm glad I gave a lot of something, little girls can probably scream about at the top of their lungs. And I can imagine that, when I was younger, I was doing the exact same thing.
Being named the Naismith Women's Player of the Year and becoming the first player to ever win the Dawn Staley Award 3 times, Caitlin Clark's junior season was one of the most exciting and decorated single seasons in NCAA history. Behind her 27.8 points per game and nearly 9 assists, Clark would lead the Iowa Hawkeyes into a highly anticipated appearance in the NCAA tournament. And what would follow would be one of the most incredible March Madness runs we've ever seen.
The second game against Georgia really pushed them. They play a really unique style of defense, and you've got all the thoughts in your head about, oh my God, this is going to be just like Creighton last year. And they just ground that one out. They just found a way to get there. And then, the Colorado game, they just kind of pulled away a little bit late. But the Louisville game, that was a Caitlin Clark clinic.
Clark, step back three, is good. Here's Clark, guarded by Robinson. Clark firing again. Oh my! Caitlin Clark, a showstopper. Clark will fire and hit.
41 points, triple-double. Who does that? Triple-double in a regional final? Come on. I mean, that's crazy. But that's what she does. If it wasn't Caitlin Clark, you'd be like, how does that happen? But now you just expect her to do the unexpected.
After a historic performance against Louisville that saw Clark become the first player in NCAA history to drop a 40 or even 30-point triple-double in the tournament, Caitlin and the Hawkeyes would find themselves headed to only the second Final Four in program history. Waiting for Clark and Iowa was one of the most dominant teams in women's basketball history, as the reigning champion South Carolina Gamecocks, coached by Dawn Staley herself, were on a 46-game win streak stretching over a year and were undefeated on the season. The game would be one of the most highly anticipated of any sport all year. The best player in the country going head-to-head with the best team.
Deep team. Clark looking to turn the corner, lays it in. Austin. Clark is going to remain on the floor. Clark fading and hitting. Clark gets it across the timeline. A deep three is good.
I think everybody kept waiting for South Carolina to kind of put their foot on the gas and just have one of those stretches where they put out, a 12-0 run, and then all of a sudden they're up 10, and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of what we thought was going to happen. And Iowa just kept right there, and Caitlin just kept them right there.
Has the mismatch. Oh, Caitlin Clark. Now you see her, now you don't. At Boston. Clark gets a clean look and knocks it down. Here's Clark. A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark gets it into Clark. Clark races away, and the mythical mastery of Caitlin Clark continues. Iowa has conquered South Carolina. The Hawkeyes are headed to the national championship game.
Becoming the first player in NCAA history to score over 40 points in back-to-back games, Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes had put away the heavily favored Gamecocks and led Iowa to their first national championship appearance in program history.
All we did was believe in each other. We might even not be the tallest. We knew they were going to beat us on the glass, but all we had to do was have some heart and some belief, and we came through when we needed big plays, and I'm just so proud of this group, man.
The national championship against LSU would not go in favor of the Hawkeyes, with the Tigers overcoming a 30-point performance from Clark to defeat Iowa for the NCAA title. However, despite the loss, Caitlin's impact on the perception of women's basketball and interest in the sport was once again evident, as 12.6 million people tuned into the championship on various platforms, making it the most watched women's basketball game of all time.
The mission isn't finished for her and for the team. They got one more hill to climb. And I think that's going to be kind of the motivation going into next year is, got to the title game. Now let's, go win one.
She's a phenomenal basketball player. We all know that. She's proven it time and time again. But I think the biggest thing is the way she holds herself and the way she plays the game. She's doing it the right way. She's doing it the fun way. She's being a role model to little kids who want to grow up and be just like her. That's a great thing. So I think in these past 3 weeks, she's done so much, but it's not just these 3 weeks. She's been doing it, since she decided to play basketball. It's been a progression to this point. So we all know what a phenomenal basketball player she is, but it's the person she is behind it all that's inspiring these kids as well.
It's really, really special, and I don't think it's going to set in for me for quite some time. I want my legacy to be the impact that I can have on young kids and the people in the state of Iowa. And I hope I brought them a lot of joy this season. I hope this team brought them a lot of joy. I understand we came up 1 win short, but I think we have a lot to be proud of and a lot to celebrate. And I was just that young girl, so all you have to do is dream, and you can be in moments like this.
It's no secret that women's basketball has struggled to attract the interests of the wider sports audience. For whatever the reason, at all levels of the women's game, the numbers have always far undervalued the product that takes the floor. That is, until Caitlin Clark arrived. Whether it be the sold-out arenas or record-breaking TV numbers, her ability to capture the attention of basketball fans from all backgrounds shows us one thing: something is changing.
It kind of takes you back for a second, because I think, you don't always realize the impact that you can have on people. It goes way further than, making a logo 3 or making a cool pass or, even winning a basketball game. I think that's what's more important to me is the joy I can bring people, and people need to start understanding that women can play with that same passion, that competitive spirit that men have played with for years. And that's what's attracting people to our game, is when women are, fiery, when they're competitive, when they're feisty, when they're encouraging their teammates. You want to have that excitement to the game, and that's what's only going to, help the viewership go up even more and more, and that's exactly what we want to do.
Caitlin Clark's story is still far from finished. With up to 2 years of eligibility left at Iowa, she could soon break nearly every scoring record that exists in women's college basketball. Until then, it's important to take a moment and appreciate not only Clark's historic 2023 run, but celebrate the opportunity she presents a whole new generation of both players and fans, inspiring them by carving her own path and redefining what it means to be a woman in the game of basketball.
Her range, her three-point shooting overall, her flair for kind of testing her range every night and knowing that the other team's going to try to take it away. And she's fearless. No shot is a bad shot, and when you can shoot it as well as she can, that definitely rings true.
If you ask her, she wants to be the best player in the world. I don't care if it's college basketball, you know, the WNBA level or internationally known. You know, who knows where she'll end up. You know, I hope that, you know, the journey, I hope it just continues. I know my wife and I enjoy it. I mean, her two brothers support her like no one else.
The attraction is, what is she going to do next? What shot is she going to make next? Is she going to pull from the logo and drill it? Is she going to make this pass that nobody can see? That's what Caitlin does. She's just, you show up and you watch to see what magical thing she's going to do next. Men's or women's, she's the most compelling college basketball player out there today. She really is. And I don't think it's even close.
Leaving the college game as the all-time leading scorer and having led her team to consecutive Final Fours, Clark had built up a reputation as the face of the women's college game over the course of her career. By the end, Iowa's games had become some of the most viewed college basketball games of all time, with the Hawkeyes selling out every arena they played in.
Tonight's game was the first time Northwestern's women's basketball has ever sold out Welsh Ryan Arena.
Caitlin Clark, if you're watching this, we love you!
By March of 2024, Clark would make her decision to pursue a new challenge, declaring her intentions to leave college for the WNBA.
How do you feel about the next chapter?
I think it's something I'm ready for, and that's why I decided to make this move, but also this is the place like all I've known all my life, and that was the main reason of coming to the University of Iowa. I wanted to play for my home state. I wanted to do something that really had never been done before.
For one, when you're moving to another level, and certainly a step up, there's always the curiosity that what is it going to be like? She was this dominant in college. She captivated the audience so much. But could she still be as effective? Could she still knock down those shots? Can that exist in the pro game with bigger, more physical players? And so those were obvious questions that I think you have with almost every player with any league, is how does the game translate?
Going from playing against people that you're kind of going to be stronger than, faster than. So the question was, how good can she be, right? Is she going to be a superstar in the WNBA? Or is she going to have to adjust her game?
Despite questions surrounding how she would adjust to the pro game, there was one thing absolutely for certain. Clark would be the biggest draw of attention the WNBA had ever seen. And as the Indiana Fever won the 2024 draft lottery, a new era was about to begin in the W.
As soon as the Fever got the draft pick, I yelled and screamed and celebrated and just jumped around my lounge. It was like, it's a franchise-altering type of move.
Ready for the 2024 WNBA Draft. First time that we have sold tickets to this event, and guess what? It's sold out in 15 minutes.
Maybe you're like sitting at your table, and obviously I kind of knew what was going to happen, but you're sitting at your table with your family, like you're still like a little anxious, and then the commissioner comes out and calls your name.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA Draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Like it's super special and it's super fun for my family to be there and enjoy that with me, and definitely shows that the hard work pays off. And I think more than anything, like I'm just grateful. Like I think I told my mom this, like I earned it. Like I earned this moment. I worked for it.
To me, not only is it a foundational piece, I viewed this as the Fever just hit a home run. They got a future Hall of Famer, and they got something more than that. They got a player that moves the needle. And better than that, she is the needle. Whatever she does sets the tone for everything. And so to me, it felt like LeBron James, for example, was coming here.
Evaluating Caitlin Clark has been a really interesting experience for me because I had the opportunity to evaluate and draft Sue Bird, who I considered probably the greatest point guard that's played in the WNBA. So I've constantly compared Caitlin to Sue, and that's a great comparison. Her high basketball IQ immediately catches your attention. Her passing ability.
You know, when I look at somebody like Caitlin Clark, I think about this just shift in the impact of basketball. And so we have so many wonderful players on the Fever team already, and she's an additional piece of this puzzle.
Fever fans, it's Caitlin Clark. I can't wait to get to Indianapolis. I know you guys are excited. I am too. Go Fever!
I feel like I definitely feel the love, and honestly, I feel like I felt the love even before I was picked from the entire city of Indianapolis. So I feel like I'm just really grateful to be coming to a place that wants women's basketball to be so amazing and continue to support it and to elevate it, and are going to do things the right way and in a first-class manner. And for me, I couldn't have really picked a better spot to start my professional career.
It's incredible for us to have the opportunity to have someone like her join our team. We established a great culture last year and laid a great foundation, and to add someone like her and in all aspects, it just puts us in a whole different ballgame.
I think the thing about myself is basketball-wise, everybody knows what I'm pretty good at. I love offense. Coach Bluter loves offense. That's what I thrived on my entire college career. So I say the passing, the shooting, the playmaking, but I love making people around me better. I think that's something that I bring, is just a winning mentality and competing really hard every single time I step on the court.
Despite unmatched excitement for her arrival, things would get off to a slow start for Caitlin and the Indiana Fever. Something that's to be expected during an introduction to the pro game, especially when her first game in the WNBA came only a month after her collegiate season.
The biggest challenge for her became the lack of time off and the lack of continuity. In the college season, you're practicing every day for a month leading into the year. You're having a couple behind closed doors scrimmages. Here you got right to it.
Clark quickly gets it up court, then got it knocked away. Odyssey cradles it.
There definitely was the realization of things you could do in college. These players are just faster in the WNBA. Their basketball IQ is higher. So where you would have space at the college level, those gaps just close quicker. Oh, she's trying to see it all, but she's just a half second too slow. And so these teams are just jumping all over her.
And she was talking to media 3 times a day for 10 to 15 minutes per session. And, at Iowa, I think she was talking to the media maybe once a week plus post-game. That was something she had to adapt to. There were a lot of different things, but more than anything, it was the lack of familiarity with her teammates on the floor. And you saw that come in due time. The point of that first month was just to get through it.
Clark would have to do more than just adjust on the court. While she was no stranger to the spotlight, Caitlin's level of attention naturally brought along controversy, with the young star forced to deal with criticism from former players and media members. Her fierce competitiveness and unapologetic play style occasionally sparked debates, making her a polarizing figure in the media.
I think to her credit, anytime she was asked about herself or an award or something happening in the league that maybe she contributed to, she would always purposely deflect out onto others. And talking about chartered flights, which obviously she helped put over the top because of safety concerns and overwhelming interest in her. And you can't have her walking through the airport. You know what she did? She said, "I am so happy for those that came before me, for those who paved the way for us to get here." And certainly throughout the year, all season, she faced some scrutiny. Some just made no sense at all. Some you tried to understand. in certain circumstances. I think that the challenge in all of this was she never demanded anything. She never asked for all this attention. She never made it about her. She wasn't on social media a ton. She tried to not get involved too much in that noise, but then naturally some of it came to her. And so when outside questions came either about basketball or about how people are weaponizing her name or the gross discourse on social media, she tried to take a stand every single time.
Everything she did and everything people said about her was put under a microscope that not many players have that same type of microscope. There's some, for sure. But I think the level where, where she's leading, First Take people are talking about her, where other places who haven't in the past even given much attention to the women's game, and now all of a sudden, it's just, I always want to talk about Caitlin because we know this will generate traffic, views, clicks.
I give Caitlin a lot of credit. She really impressed me in the way she was mature beyond her years and always had the right answer and was always willing to prop others up. It very much reminded me here in this city of Peyton Manning, who was very professional, who was very well-spoken, who loved to talk about the game, but also understand the greater impact that she was having on the league, on the city, on young boys and girls who aspire to be her. It was just remarkable, all the things that not only she did on the court, but she also had to put up with off the court and try to answer to.
As the season progressed, it was clear that Caitlin was getting more and more comfortable on the professional court. And before long, her and the Fever were beginning to gel together on the floor.
Here's Clark, still trying to find her rhythm, a deep pull. Got it! Clark, step back three, knocks it down! Fabulous, nice pass there to Clark. Clark behind the back, oh, it's good!
Attack, play. No matter how physical the early teams were with her, took her back a little bit in the beginning, but the next game she's better.
There was a moment where I just was like, oh, now she just looks like a WNBA player. I just remember being like, oh yeah, she looks very comfortable now.
Bentley, handoff Clark, launches, and hits a three! We are level!
But it's picked up a triple-double here today and gets the and one. Clark has space. She's going to let it fly, and she's going to connect. Oh, Caitlin Clark.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
When you talk about greats in this game, the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and the Steph Currys, they are putting her in that category, the Diana Taurasi's. She has that level of competitiveness in her. She wants everyone on her team to have that. And she has given that. It has infused several of our players to have more of that competitive spirit.
It's got to be the long threes. If that's the thing that carries over any type of basketball level. And I think just remembering again for people who aren't used to it, these are amazingly difficult shots that she shoots on a regular.
No shot is too far away from the rim for Caitlin Clark.
Clark, fire away. You bet.
The whole team just looked different. And she just looked so in control of everything that was happening.
As a rookie, you don't always know what you're walking into, how you're going to impact the game. But her ability as the point guard to talk to others, to say, hey, you might be open here, you might be open here. Hey, we need to do this. Let's run that. I think her ability to lead this team as a rookie, she's really starting to step into that role. And I think that's exciting to see as well.
She makes those around her better. And personally, I think that's one of the best attributes of a star, of a Hall of Famer, is how do you impact others?
One of her best skills for sure is her passing.
Long rebound to the Fever. Oh, back Bentley.
Coming into the WNBA and straight away she's into the conversation of who's the best passer in the league. Talk about people not knowing how good she was. She's now already, that's what people might know her for, is the passing. And that's incredible when you think about how good a scorer she is.
Now here comes Clark, bouncing to tag Bentley, lays it in. Nice look from Clark, and Smith lays it home. 22 points. She's closing in on it. Give and go with Boston. Clark, kick out. Here's Mitchell. Eubanks.
What do you like more, setting your teammates up or scoring the ball yourself?
Honestly, I think setting my teammates up, I think that just provides so much more energy to the team. It gets everybody going, and when everybody can touch the ball and get going in that way, I think it just everybody just flows a little bit better. The offense flows a little bit better. But that's something I take a lot of pride in. At times, I think I can try to overpass and probably could be a little more aggressive to the basket. But yeah, I think with the weapons that we have on our team, it's just easy for me to set them up, especially with AB, playing pick and roll with her, and our chemistry is just slowly developing and getting better and better. And yeah, I think we're just, learning as time goes and each game goes, we're just getting better and better.
And you hear her communicating, you can see the way that she can find you. I mean, her passes are tremendous, and so as a post player, it makes me want to run because I'm like, okay, I'll get a touch, let me just get down there just because of how well she passed it. But I mean, she's a great teammate. She just talks, communicates, we have laughs, and so it's always great.
I've only had a few of those kind of point guards. You just sees the play before it's happened. So I'm going, I know I'm open, I'm like, oh, nah, I reckon the point guard, I'm like, they didn't see it.
I even saw that, she saw that before I was open. She can find you. She can find you in times where you don't really know it's even coming. So it's exciting and it's fun to play with her, and I think we're building that chemistry every game.
While Clark and the Fever had things rolling on the floor, Caitlin's impact was just as evident off of it, as the WNBA experienced unprecedented success with her arrival. Headlining a talented 2024 draft class, Clark and her peers had immediately brought national media attention to the W, and brought a wave of new viewers to the product. TV viewership was up over 170%, with games featuring Caitlin becoming must-see TV for an entire demographic outside of the normal women's basketball viewers. Merchandise sales skyrocketed as Clark took the spot of top-selling jersey in the entire league, and arenas were being filled to capacity, as several teams were forced to relocate to bigger venues when the Fever came to town in an effort to accommodate record-breaking crowds.
The question we all wondered was, would she bring those viewers with her? And she absolutely did. I think there were 24 WNBA events that were seen by over 1 million viewers on a number of networks. 6 different networks had their most viewed WNBA game of all time. Of those 24 events, 21 of them, including the draft, involved Caitlin Clark. So there's no denying the magic, the stranglehold she has on fans, and the interest level. She's going against NFL Sunday and still manages to get over 1 million viewers. That is unheard of. Typically, you would be excited about an audience of 300, of 400,000. She's almost guaranteeing an audience of over 1 million on national networks.
She's clearly an unbelievable player, came in with an unbelievable following, has brought a lot of new fans to the league. If you look at our historic season around our attendance, our viewership, Caitlin, Angel Reese, Rakia Jackson, Cameron Brink, this class of rookies, we will be talking about them a generation from now.
Caitlin Clark had a real crossover effect that was impacting a lot of people who usually wouldn't watch women's basketball. I think every single one of us who loves basketball has friends. Somebody has probably brought up Caitlin Clark to us at some stage and just said, this woman's an amazing player.
For this league, to me, it's sky's the limit. You're seeing how incredible it can be. You can see how hard it is to get a ticket to get into the doors, how many people want to turn it on their television, how people are traveling miles and miles to come and watch and have an opportunity to interact with the players or just watch the players play basketball live in person. So, obviously expansion is going to really help. The new media deal is going to help. And I think you're just going to continue to see it grow. This is really only the beginning in my eyes. It's the hardest league in all of sports with only, less than 144 spots. Obviously that's expanding, but I'm excited. The people that have been in this league deserve it, and then obviously the people that are going to continue to come into this league are going to come into a great situation. It's going to be, awesome for everyone.
By the end of the regular season, Caitlin Clark had put together one of the most impressive rookie seasons in the history of the WNBA. Not only had she led the WNBA in assists, but had done so in record-breaking fashion, reaching the most assists in a season in the league's history. She became the first rookie to record a triple-double in league history, and even broke the single-season record for three-pointers made. Her accomplishments would earn her the WNBA's Rookie of the Year award, and earn her a spot on first-team All-WNBA. The final stretch of the season had seen Clark play at a level that rivaled anyone else in the league, and even earned her a spot in the conversation for the league's MVP award as a rookie. Behind this historic season, Caitlin had helped her team accomplish their goal, leading Indiana to their first playoff berth since 2016.
Trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim. Reverses it home through the contact. No one picks up Clark, who pans the three. Clark connects on a bomb. Working behind Boston. Clark for the lead.
While the Fever would be eliminated in the first round, it was clear that Caitlin and the rest of the roster had laid the foundation for more success to come.
I think it gave us a taste of where we wanted to be. At the same time, I felt like you have to let this kind of burn inside of you and let it kind of bother you in a way that it's going to drive you through the offseason. How's it going to make you work? You got a taste of getting to the playoffs. Obviously, we haven't been there since 2016, but next year we're wanting to be a top 4 seed. We believe we can build this place into a championship contender. That's what I believe. That's what I'm going to do everything in my power to help this organization get there. But you got to let it, hurt you a little bit and really drive you throughout the offseason.
Man, that rookie season was something special. Like the records are awesome, but it really is just the excitement factor and the way that so many people got excited about it. I think that's the biggest thing I'll remember.
I think I've grown the most in just, understanding my teammates, understanding the system that we run, understanding how people are going to guard me, understanding ways that I can put myself in a position to be successful. It's so much different than college. And in college, I, had teammates that were there with me for 4 years and were really comfortable playing with me. And then you come here and you have to learn your teammates in 2 weeks before you step on the court, and that can be really hard. And I've just learned, how I can put my teammates in a position to be successful, and they've learned, what's going to make me go too. And I think you can see literally every single game, our chemistry is just building and building. And, I think that's what's most exciting.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season was historic, not only for herself, but for the sport itself. Her influence extended far beyond the court, drawing millions of new fans to the WNBA, many of which were tuning in to see what Caitlin may do next.
I'll first remember about Caitlin's rookie season how she brought the audience with her, and how every game she played continued to be appointment TV. It continued to be must-see TV. How in the city of Indianapolis, when I'm on the radio or talking with fans, they're asking about Caitlin first, before Tyrese Halliburton, before the Indiana Pacers, and sometimes even before the Indianapolis Colts, because she has taken this city by storm. She's taken this league by storm.
Playing at home in front of, these fans, and the way the young girls just, dangle over the side of the rails and are so happy, and people are crying, and you understand the impact that you're having on people's lives, and that's what's so cool about it for myself.
She's really drawn not only to the normal fans, but to all those young girls that are there in the stadium, that have on her jerseys, that are screaming and hollering, and they want her autograph. And I think she genuinely loves that. And I think she has an attraction to the fans, and I think they feel it too, that she really cares about them and that she really wants to give them the best she can of her game.
Yeah, Caitlin is very mindful and conscious of future generations. She always talks about how she remembers being that 8-year-old girl, or she remembers being the young girl going to a Minnesota Lynx game and getting a photo with some of the players. Or Maya Moore was the player that she looked up to. And so she appreciated that accessibility and being able to interact with them. It's one reason why she takes great pride in signing autographs before and after every game. I think she appreciates and recognizes that she is an icon. She is a role model, and she accepts it.
These next draft classes coming in are special. There's some really special players who are coming in who could do for their franchises what Caitlin did for the Fever, who are just going to energize their teams. I would imagine she's going to be incredibly generous with her recognition of how good they are. And then I think on the court, she's going to try and destroy them. I think her competitive, I want to win, is going to come out. And I think that's the best, right? That's what you want. You want someone who's going to be, I appreciate the game of basketball. I love the game. I want to grow this game. I want more people to know this, but I want to win. And I think that's what every best player has been, or every good face of the league has been, that the game is a competition, that it is about winning. Like, I think she's going to try win MVPs and championships and all of it.
A lot of fans may not realize that the league is less than 30 years old in existence, and it took a lot to get this league going. Then it kept a lot to keep this league afloat. And here in Indianapolis, for example, there were many times when ownership, which is one of the few franchises that has the same owner for the NBA team, the Pacers, as the WNBA and the Fever, there were plenty of opportunities when they could have decided, this isn't worth it, we're losing money, we need to move on. Well, seeing that through for 25 years, in their 25th year of existence, they got this special talent, historic talent, Caitlin Clark, that helped completely change this Fever franchise and the WNBA. For the Fever, they go from averaging like 3,000 fans per game to over 17,000 fans per game. Better attendance than the Pacers. You see the league-wide interest increase. And all these leagues need something. There's inflection points. We saw in the NBA where it was Magic and Larry Bird. Well, with here, you have Caitlin Clark. Within her own rookie class, you had a lot of conversation as well with Angel Reese and other good rookies as well, Cameron Brink. And you're hoping maybe this can be an inflection point as well, where it completely changes the league's trajectory for better.
I feel like there's just so many memories you're going to remember from your rookie year. Like, your rookie year is something you're always going to cherish as you go throughout your career. I think it was a huge learning opportunity for myself. I learned a lot about myself as a basketball player, as a person, being resilient when your back's up against the wall, but also really coming into our own and really thriving. And I think, you know, once we figured it out, it was a lot of fun.
Being the face of an entire sport is never easy. It's not something Clark ever asked for, but the way she has handled being handed the responsibility of carrying the future of the game forward is one of the many things that makes Caitlin such a special player. At the end of the day, she knows the importance of the role she plays. And while the rest of the world talks about Caitlin Clark, she's just fine with letting her game do the talking. The 2025 season saw Caitlin Clark average a near double-double in her sophomore season. But as the attention for the young star continued to grow, so did the animosity from her peers in the W.
Clark, hammer. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
You have people who are resenting of her star power and her cachet. And as a result, if they have an opportunity to go at her, they're going to take it.
We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again, absolutely unacceptable.
Clark, and they get into it a bit here. Sheldon's face, Caitlin Clark hits the deck.
The wear and tear of the season would begin to catch up to Clark in 2025, as she would miss extended time early in the season due to a left groin injury. Then, following a return around the All-Star break, she would injure the right groin, followed by an ankle injury during the rehab process that would take her out for the season.
When you're injured, it's honestly more work than when you're playing. So, you know, I've spent so much time here in this building this season just trying to get healthy, and you know, there was no decision of like, this is the end of my season. I had full intention of returning, and I think in a way that was probably positive for me, because that's how I approached every single day. I came in here like I was going to play, I was going to get back out on the court, and it probably would have been even more devastating and crushing knowing that I was never going to be able to put my uniform back on for the rest of the season. You know, you just approach it like every single day you attack and get better, and it'll be the same for me going forward. Like, that work doesn't stop, and you know, I think it's just I think I've had really good perspective on it all, and that's probably what I'm most proud of too.
Clark would play just 13 games for the Fever in 2025, and subsequently found herself being treated like an afterthought in the world of women's basketball. To some, this was the way it should be, with many players and media feeling like she had gained too much attention since her historic career at Iowa. However, as the 2026 season approached, Clark was on a mission to prove that not only was she still one of the top young stars of the women's game, but she was coming for the title of best in the world.
Reaches off the ball, Clark behind the back, oh my! Cunningham looking, versatile talent, handoff Clark for the tie, yes! 22 has done it again!
Caitlin Clark is exceptional. She is extraordinary, she is elite, she is incredibly difficult to defend. She plays on extraordinary angles, both with and without the basketball. And she is very unpredictable, I would tell you.
Clark, bullseye!
So far in the 2026 season, Caitlin Clark has been on a historical run. The star guard is already second all-time in career double-doubles for a guard, doing so in under 100 games. An MVP candidate, Clark is averaging a career-high 22 points per game to go along with 8 assists, and has led the Fever to one of their best regular seasons in over a decade.
Under 10.
Clark fires,
There will always be people with an opinion on Caitlin Clark. Whether it's about the attention, the hype, or even the criticism that seems to follow her everywhere she goes. But through it all, Caitlin Clark has continued to do the same thing she's done her entire career. Answer on the court. Again and again, she stepped into the biggest moments with a target on her back, and somehow found a way to continue elevating her game. It's one of the reasons that she remains must-see TV, and one of the reasons that no matter how you feel about Clark, you still have no choice but to tune in night after night. That's what has made Caitlin Clark one of the most compelling athletes in basketball. And after everything she's already accomplished, maybe the most remarkable part of Caitlin Clark's story is this: her journey is just getting started.